Hey guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so like I said, I am going to start doing some more book related videos. So that is what today's video is going to be. It is going to be a bookish video. I do hope eventually to do like book reviews, but those take me a while to do. So we're just going to stick with like lists for now. So today's list is going to be popular books I haven't read, or like well-loved books I haven't read, or books you should probably read at least once in your lifetime and that I haven't read yet. Some of the books on this list are like classics, ones that are typically part of like required reading for school. Others are more contemporary novels or more recent novels that were just super popular and I never got around to. So to kick off this list, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is a book that I have started multiple times and have been wanting to read for over a decade, and there's something that it can't hold my focus. And I can't put enough of a dent into it when I do start it to like keep my attention. Like I'll get a chapter or two in and then I just toss it to the side because it just hasn't held my attention. The premise sounds great. Any of Jane Austen's books sound great, but when I go to actually read it, I can't focus long enough to do so, if that makes any kind of sense. I've been told so many times to just read it because it's great, just can't seem to. Let me know in the comments below if you have the same struggle. 1984 by George Orwell. This is a book that I have started several times, much like Pride and Prejudice, but every time I start it, I fall asleep. I don't know why. Probably not a book I should read like at midnight right as I'm getting into bed, but that just seems to be the case with it. Also the fact that it's becoming far too real in today's world. Even though this book was written in 1940s, like the late 1940s, it's becoming a little too close to home here in 2019. The whole Big Brother thing watching over you, seeing everything you're doing, a little terrifying, a little close to home. The premise is absolutely terrifying, and that's because Big Brother's here. The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Did I say that correctly? This is another one that I've tried to start. This is another one that was never required reading for me, even though a lot of schools are incorporating it. But this is also another one where I just haven't gotten into it enough to keep going. I mentioned with Pride and Prejudice, I just couldn't make enough of a dent in it to really grab my attention. This is another one like that. Like I said, I know a lot of people read it in school because they had to. A lot of teachers are incorporating it now as required reading. They're trying to update the required reading because it's been the same standard books for years. Required it. Never did that. Again, much like Pride and Prejudice, the premise sounds fantastic. I just haven't been able to get into it. I also have not watched the movie. The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. Again, I am butchering these names. My apologies. I remember when the movie came out. The book was first released in 2003 and then the movie came out, I believe 2007, so I was still in high school when it came out. I remember everyone going nuts over the movie, and then everyone started picking up the book, and then it became like a book that book clubs would incorporate into their schedules. Something to keep in mind about this book, it was on the New York Times bestseller list #1 over 2 years. That's insane. Like, it's gotta be a hell of a good book. And to be honest, I actually don't know much about the premise. I had to go look it up on Wikipedia, and that was not the premise that I thought it was. So the fact that I didn't know what the book was actually about is probably why I had no interest in it. I mean, I just didn't know what it was. I just know everyone was going nuts over it when the movie came out. But obviously it was good if it stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for that long. Perhaps I should eventually pick it up. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Now this is another popular one that I knew I should read and was some people's required reading, but this was another one that I didn't know the entire premise of. I always knew 1984, and for some reason I always got the two of them mixed up, but they're very different. And I don't know why I've never read this book because I absolutely adore dystopian novels. This is quite dystopian. It is pretty interesting to note that this book was written in the 1930s. The fact that these books are written in the 30s and the 40s, and then all of a sudden they're like, I wouldn't say Brave New World is necessarily becoming poignant now like 1984 is, but a lot of dystopians kind of build on what Brave New World put out there. So when I did read the synopsis for Brave New World, it sounds incredibly intriguing. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Like the entire series, I haven't read any of them. I've seen the movies that are out, Didn't they stop them because they were like such crap? I thought they were. I saw the movies, was never enticed by the books. It just wasn't my thing. The premise of the series is interesting, but it just wasn't anything that was on my radar to like go out of my way and read. I do think it's interesting that the book order is like not chronological, so if you want to read it chronologically, you have to read it completely out of order. I do think that's pretty interesting. Or you can read it in the order that they came out, whatever floats your boat. But for me, it never did anything for me. The Help by Kathryn Stockett. I have no idea why I haven't read this book. First of all, I adore the movie. It is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it with a passion. So I really have no idea why I haven't read the book yet. I don't know if it's because I don't have a copy and I don't know anyone that does. Actually, I think my mom has a copy, so that's a lie. But I really don't know why I haven't read it yet. I hear it's really good. Like compared to the movie, it's really good. So if I like the movie that much, I feel like I'd really like the book. I just haven't gotten my hands on an actual copy to read it. And like every time I go to the bookstore, I always forget. All right, I've mentioned this one a few times. Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling, but only books 5 through 7. I read 1 through 4. And like I've mentioned before, the 4th one just did not do it for me. I absolutely hated that book. And to be quite honest, I do not remember at this point why I disliked it so much. Because I read it when it was relatively new. I just really did not like the 4th book, which is weird because I love the 4th movie. I do have books 5 through 7. I have an actual physical copy and I have an audio book version of all 3. I just haven't gotten to it yet. When you see like the time for how long each audiobook is, that's a little daunting. When you look at the size of the books, that's a little daunting. I need things that are much shorter. And a lot of people tell me that the 5th book is like amazing and then it picks up from that point. I just haven't done it yet and I am so sorry. The Hobbit as well as The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I slept through those movies. I'm not sure I made it through any of those movies completely, which makes me think that I probably wouldn't make it through the books either. I'm just not a high fantasy book lover. Sorry if you are. It's just never been my thing. I know there's so many people that absolutely adore these books and movies with a fiery passion. It's just not my thing. It's never interested me. I think when I was younger, Legolas interested me, but that was about it. And to top off this list, we have The Art of Racing in the Rain, or Marley and Me, or A Dog's Purpose, or pretty much anything that has a dog in it. And you wanna know why? It's not because there's a dog in it, except it is. Because usually when there's a book with a dog in it, something happens to the dog. And I'm not gonna put myself through that. Same with anything with a cat, like Dewey the Library Cat. I think that was the title of the book. I just won't read them. I kind of have a feeling where it's gonna go. The dog is gonna die. The cat is gonna die. Something is gonna happen to the dog or the cat. If it has an animal or is like primarily about an animal, I won't touch it. Doesn't matter if everyone loved it and they're like,
oh, but it's okay, you know, the dog is okay in the end.
No, in my brain, something is gonna happen. So that is why I don't read any of those books. Also, The Art of Racing in the Rain is being turned into a movie, which makes me wanna read it, but at the same time not. I watched Marley and Me. The movie messed me up. So those are just 10 books that are incredibly popular, or ones that you should probably read at least once in your lifetime that I just haven't done yet. Really and truly, there's no excuse for me not having read these, especially since I own some of these, like Pride and Prejudice, 1984, Brave New World. I own those. The Harry Potter books, I own them. They are on my bookshelves. I just haven't read them yet. Maybe one day I'll get around to them. If you've read any of these books and you actually really enjoyed them, let me know in the comments below. Maybe you'll like push me over the edge to be like, all right, I need to read this now. Or if you didn't like any of these books, let me know in the comments below so that way I can avoid it and not waste my time. Because there are far too many books out there that need to be read. Also, let me know in the comments below, you know, what popular books you haven't read yet that everyone seems to have read and you just haven't gotten around to. Because believe me, I understand. Just completely missing the boat on some of those books. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button, wherever it may be, because I don't know. Even though I do, this is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys.